Welcome to another Mr. Paul video. Today we'll be discussing writing equations from different situations, namely tables this time, okay? All of our information boils down to how well we know y equals mx plus b. Well, we know that the m stands for the slope and that the b stands for the y-intercept, but what do these look like? What do these look like? Well, a slope is a fraction. We can think of it as the change in y over the change in x if we're comparing two numbers together. We can think of it as the rise over the run, meaning how much is changing up and down versus how much is changing left and right. Our y-intercept could be told as b equals some number, or 0, comma b. If they give us a coordinate, we know if the x is 0, the b has to be our y-intercept. So, how do we solve this given a table? How do we create an equation that looks like this, y equals mx plus b, if we're given a table? Well, let me give you a table. Remember, a table is just information displayed in a unique way where we have x's and y's. And let's just say we have some numbers in here. We have 0, 3, we have a 2, 4, 6, we have a 6, a 9, and a 12. How do we look at the information in this table and determine how to write an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b? We need two pieces. We need an m and a b. We need to figure out what m is and what b is. If we can do that, we can substitute it in for m and b, and then we can have the equation of a line. Well, if I know b, that's going to be the easiest one. It's going to look like 0, comma b. 0, comma b. Now, I really want to stress what we're looking at. If I'm looking at the numbers in this table, remember, these are comparing two numbers together, meaning an x and a y. I have to think of this as 0, comma 3. When x is 0, y is 3. When x is 2, y is 6. These are coordinates that I can graph on a coordinate plane. 4 and 9. When x is 4, y is 9. And when x is 6, y is 2. So when x is 6, y is 12. I said 2, but I meant 12. Hopefully you get the point. When I'm looking at this table, I have to remember I'm actually looking at coordinates. Well, the coordinate I'm looking for is when x is equal to 0. Whatever's in my y location, remember that this is x and this is y. Whatever is in my y location is going to be my b. So I know my b has to be 3. I'm looking at this pair right here. The key is the 0, when x is equal to 0. So I know when x is 0, whatever's in the y position is my b, so that's a 3. Cool. Now my m, I just have to remember, is my change in y over the change in x. Change in y over the change in x. Meaning, I want to study how these numbers are changing. Not what they are, but how they're changing from one to the next. What do I have to do to get from 0 to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 6? These x are changing by 2 every time. Plus 2, plus 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. The change in each number to get from one to the next is by going plus 2. These y's are each changing by 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. And 9 plus 3 is 12. Not what are the values now, but what do I have to do to change one number to get to the next? I have to add 3 each time. So my slope, if it's my change in y over my change in x, well, my change in y, I'm looking at my y's and how they're changing. Each of these are changing by 3. So my change in y is 3. My change in x, I'm looking at these 2's up here. This is 2, this is 2, this is 2. These are each changing by 2. If I have an m and I have a B, I have a line. Remember, y equals mx plus b. I know m and I know b. The equation of this line is y equals 3 over 2x plus 3. Take a moment to pause the video. We'll do another example. Okay, well, let me erase all this real quick. So what if I gave you another table? What if I gave you another table? I have an X, and I have a Y, and they're in a table. I'm going to start with 0, 1, 2, 3. And then we have 4, 8, 12, 16. Could you give me the equation of the line from this table? That's the question. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. Well, to be able to make an equation y equals mx plus b, we need two things. Two things. We need an m and we need a b. I have to know what these two things are so that I can write my equation, y equals mx plus b. Well, let's start with the easier one. I'm thinking ahead. My x needs to be 0. Okay, well, there's only one spot where x is equal to 0. It's this location right here. This is 0, 4. 0, 4. I know my b has to be 4. Because when x is 0, y is 4. It's giving me a coordinate, but the table version. Okay. Well, now I need to know my m. Well, remember, the m is the change in y over the change in x. Change in y over the change in x. I need to know how my y's are changing. I need to know how my x's are changing. Not what they are now, but what does it take to get from one number to the next? Well, I can look at my x's from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3. Each time they're going up by 1. And then I can look at my y's. Each time they're going up by a number from 4 to 8, from 8 to 12, from 12 to 16. Each time they're going up by 4. These numbers on top here, all of these represent the change in x. These are how my x's are changing. These numbers down here represent the change in y. They're how my y's are changing. So if I want to study the change in y compared to the change in x, well, my change in y, I'm looking, okay, each time it goes up by 4. My change in y is 4. My change in x is 1. I now have my slope. So y equals mx plus b. If I know m and I know b, y equals 4 over 1x plus 4. That's all for today's video. In the next video, we'll be doing more writing equations from tables, but we'll be looking at some different situations, what's similar and what's different. Peace.